I'm going to share with you some facts that you may not have heard before and possibly couldn't Google. More importantly, I'm going to tell you stories, because stories, our stories, your stories, my stories, stories are where we connect. We see ourselves in those stories, and then we change something inside of us when we hear those. So I'm going to share with you some stories. And then we're going to have some magic, a little bit of magic. We're going to have a reason to get up in the morning, and we're going to be joyful about it. We're going to be spirit-filled with a zest for life to make a difference for those whose lives we touch. We're going to be hot. We're going to be hot in a new way. We're going to redefine what it means to age, because our aging is very different from our mothers and our grandmothers. And let's talk a little bit about why. Okay, this is a really red-hot mama. This is my Aunt Net Williams. And Aunt Net touched my life in very many ways. She was widowed in her 40s, and she had to reinvent herself and figure out how to make a living, and she did, and support her family. She got up every morning before the sun rose, and she had her coffee with God every morning. And then she got dressed like this every day. Let me see if I can figure out how to make this thing work. Every day with her suits and her pearls and her glasses and her smile. My Aunt Net was unforgettable. She has fingerprints on my life. Here's what I think of when I think of Aunt Net. I think spirit-filled. I think strong. I think spunky. Now, there's some paper in your folders. I want you to take 2 minutes. And Sundara, where are you? Somebody time me for 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes to think of someone unforgettable in your life and write down 3 adjectives about them. My Aunt Net was strong. She was spirit-filled. She was sparkly. Think of someone who's made a difference in your life and write down 3 adjectives. I have a clear truth in my heart, and it is that each of us is here, right now, in this room, in this world, on this planet, in your community for a reason. And what you're here to do, no one else can do. No one else can do. It might be that you're going to run for mayor and change some laws in your hometown. It may be that you're going to start a corporation and do gender equity in your thing. It may be that you're going to go to Whole Foods today, and the woman in front of you is too arthritic to pull out her grocery cart, and you came down in this life literally to help her pull that out. None of those are more or less important. Each of us has something that only we can do. It's why we're here. But you know what? It's a good reason, but you can't do it if you don't feel good. I'm not alone in believing this. The Dalai Lama says the Western woman will change the world. The Western woman is going to change the world. It's the stuff that you want to hear that you might not hear somewhere else. So let's talk about it. You want to be healthy? You want to live longer? Well, great studies today show that having some form of faith in a higher power, some regular spiritual practice, it's not preaching religion here, might be a walk in nature. It may be watching the birds. It may be reading a devotional book. But some regular spiritual practice is as important, if not more so, than not smoking and maintaining a healthy weight. So, you know, in today's busy world, when you're going, I mean, what do you mean? I can't figure out how I'm going to have a regular spiritual practice. I don't have any time for me. I had several women today say, I'm here today because I wanted a morning for myself. So how do you get regular time to be meditative, prayerful, joyful, visualize? Here are a few tricks that I share with women all the time. How many of you have a phone with a timer on it, like a little stop clock on it? Okay, a good bit of you. All right, if you go into the toilet, this has been tested and been found to be true. If you are in there for 3 to 3.5 minutes, people think you are pooping. They don't bother you. 4 minutes and more, they're wanting to know what you're doing. The kids are banging on the door. The cat's got her paw under the door. Your husband's saying, where's my tire? Where's my lunch? 3.5 minutes. Do it 3 to 5 times a day. Take it in. Put your sock thing on. And do your form of visualization, prayer. Take a happy book. Do something that makes you feel joyful and centered in yourself. Another thing is, you know, we shouldn't be talking on the phone or texting anyway in your car. Turn off your radio. Make that your own private prayer pocket, however prayer shows up for you, whether that's visualizing or whatnot. I read this devotional called God Calling every day, and I was sharing with a girlfriend of mine in Nashville, Tennessee, and she said, well, I have a different version of God Calling. She says, I call myself and leave myself messages at the office. that say, she has a nonprofit, the YW, that does incredible work for domestic violence. Anyway, she says, I call myself and say, this is, and leave a message at work, this is God. And you're just gonna go and raise tons of money for women in need today. This is God, and I believe in the work you're doing. She makes God calling really literal in her life. However it shows up with you, consider if it's more important, the studies are showing it's as important, if not more so, than non-smoking, exercise, and being in a healthy weight. Maybe you can find those 3 to 5 minutes, 3 to 5 times a day, to meditate or prayer. We are producers, we are creators, women, we have vessels for creativity. Sometimes it's children, sometimes it's a painting, sometimes it's a nonprofit. But to keep that going, you'll live longer. What in your world needs changing right now? What in our world? What about literacy? What about childhood marriages across the globe, 12 and 13-year-olds being forced into that? What about teenage pregnancy in your own town? What about young girls who are being cyberbullied? What's going on? What needs to be changed? We have the means to do that. Each of us has the means to do that. How are we going to do that? How do you think we're going to do it? Anybody have a clue? It's going to be a mixture of our money, our politics, and our social activism. Women today control more and more of the global economy, and I'm going to tell you more about that. But really, in my mother's day and my grandmother's day, they had their pin money, the money they took away from the grocery and they stuck in their back pocket, and no one knew. But they didn't really earn, they weren't the breadwinners in their family. More and more women today are. So they've got money. Politics, I don't really care what party you are. I care that you vote, and I care that you realize your vote makes a difference. Right? And social activism, the internet's sort of magical, and this whole, I can't find my Facebook page. In fact, I have 2 of them, and I can't find either of them. I'm not sure how one of them even got up. But the point is, social media, when you know how to do it, and 12-year-olds know how to do it, social media is creating a tsunami of change across the globe. But wait a minute, you're sort of probably going, that's nice. I didn't think I was coming to church this morning. And I really didn't want to go to a political rally. I'm here to find out how I can age better and how I can age differently and how I can be vibrant and vital.